I think people will postpone their enjoyment. If it's, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it next week, we'll do it next year, whatever that is. My best advice to anybody is don't do it. Do today. Tomorrow's not promised.
Hello and welcome to Coffee Connections podcast. My name is Cindy Chase, and I'm so happy that you're here with us again this week. We have a wonderful guest for you. His name is Bruce Perry, and he's got two businesses that he's going to tell us about. Hello and welcome to Coffee Connections podcast. My name is Cindy Chase. And I have another very special guest for you today. His name is Bruce Perry, and his company is called Magic Bus Tours Limited. Welcome.
Thanks so much, Cindy. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
And we're on site. We're at Bruce's office.
Yes, the emporium that is our office. Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and we got lots of cool photos on the walls and snowboards. Maybe I'll take a scan and we can share that with the viewers.
Yeah, sure, that'd be fun. Yeah.
So Bruce, do you remember how we met?
Chamber of Commerce meeting. Yes.
You've been a member of the Chamber of Commerce for a while?
Yes, actually, quite a while. Through various relations, but yeah, for a while.
And how many years have you been in business, this Magic Bus Tours Limited?
Magic Bus was born in 1990. It was incorporated in 92. And so by that math, 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we're starting to get the hang of it. I was 7 when I met.
Yeah, I know, right? I was going to say, were you just outside of high school, or can you share how that all came together?
Yes, thanks. So I was a ski instructor at Edmonton Ski Club, and I had just graduated in 8 with a marketing management diploma, and I had befriended a buddy at a radio station. Say, Bruce, let's go skiing. Great. I just naturally assumed he had some kind of radio hookup, but it was the very first year of Jasper in January. So
what is that?
It's a big event that goes on in Jasper every January, where they lower the rates and have this big festival in town, and it's just really cool.
Is it the town of Jasper that puts it on?
Yes. And in 1990, you could buy a lift ticket for $19.90 a day, and you could share a room with somebody for $19.90 per person per night.
Wow.
So our very first trip was like $155 for the weekend per person, double.
Wow.
And now our daily rate is $219 just to go there and back for the day. So that was where it began. We did our first trip in 1990.
Okay, but how did you come up with the business idea?
Well, honestly, in 1990, there was 8 tour operators in Edmonton. And we were the little tiny speck at the end of the trail. And pretty near everybody in town was the Wahoo party, booze cruise, have a bunch of drinks, get crazy. And we went the other direction. We went to very high quality, very high class. We served you in the seat. We bring you the chicken wings, deli meat, cheese, and all that kind of stuff. And it was really cool. Went over really well. And when we got back from our first trip, we had a bunch of people call us and say, "Hey, I hear you guys do these trips and they're really great. Can I sign up for another one?" It's like, well, we weren't really planning another one, but thanks. And then the next year, 91, we did 3. And I met the president of the largest operator in Edmonton. And he was looking to step away from his company, or the company that he was driving, into an ownership role. And I said, okay, sure, come on, join us. And so we did 40 trips the following season. And then we did 80. And then he fell in love with a beautiful girl in Vancouver. Go figure. And so he wanted to jet away and go and participate in life out there. And so I bought him out. And then in 2008, we're just under 500 coaches in the winter. We're doing trips from Edmonton to Jasper, Edmonton to Lake Louise, plus all of these school trips and things like this. And it was going really well. 2008 happens, they had the big market crash and the readjustment and all of that. And it wasn't long after that we stopped running the Edmonton to Lake Louise bus, just because it was a tough road to hoe. I mean, it's a long way to go and back there and back in a single day.
Yeah.
So we focused all of our efforts getting to Jasper. And
Were these still just one-day trips?
yeah, we have a bunch of different services. We had day
Back then,
trips.
did you have weekend trips?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Back then too?
Yeah. The 80 buses that we ran then were school groups. So that's primarily what Magic Bus is known for outside of what we do publicly, is we're heavily involved in school transportation. So it started off as just ski trips for schools. Now we take schools to Vancouver Island to go and see
really?
Science Center out there, yeah.
Oh, so it's not only ski trips in
No.
the winter.
No, it's a
Transportation.
gigantic organization that goes coast to coast in Canada. We can build things into the United States.
Oh,
I
I wouldn't have got that from your website.
No, it's a secret. We do
Not
that.
anymore.
We do that intentionally, actually. So our marketing to our schools is very direct, and it's private in that we want for our competitors to not know that that's correct.
Right.
So now that we're on this, and then it wasn't long later that we decided to take a run at post-secondary schools. And post-secondary schools, of course, there's adult beverage consumption. And we have a way to do things where it's extremely well controlled. And as a result, we got all of the post-secondary business our first year.
Wow.
We knew where to hunt. We knew what their pinch points were. We went and answered all of those questions. We delivered at an extremely high level. All of our suppliers downrange of us were very, very pleased. And they said, bring us as much of this business as you can. Whereas historically it was stay out of town. We don't want you back.
Right. Wow.
So we changed the face of that business dramatically.
Give it a bit of class.
Yep. Well, and people will live to expectation, right?
Yeah.
So we did that in a different way that had been done before, and it's very successful. And then we decided, you know what? We've got this model. We know we can do this. Let's take this to corporate.
Mm-hmm.
So that was why we met at a Chamber of Commerce function, because we're there talking to people about that. And as a result, there's been pretty solid uptake. I mean, COVID was kind of the readjustment in corporate world.
The Great Reset.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and justifiably. I mean,
Yeah.
corporations weren't necessarily treating the people as nicely as they ought to, and with the respect that people deserve. And when we walk into an office, or even if we meet somebody and we're talking to them about what we do, if we get the link of the basketball on the forehead kind of thing, then we can tell that that company doesn't have a corporate culture,
Mm-hmm.
and they wouldn't understand what we're there to talk to them about.
Right.
And we believe that if people are properly engaged and motivated, that your workforce is magnificently more productive.
So, if you get the blink,
Yep.
look, what does that say to you? Does that say, nope,
Yeah.
go somewhere else? It's not something that you want to teach them, right?
It's honestly at that point, I don't have the time. Right? There's so many companies out there that fully understand what we do, are keen to engage their staff, keen to pass the next person in their chain of command, like as far as their industries. And that was what you said, like the Great Reset was, it might not have been the exchanging of places of 1 and 2 in the industry, but it might have been 4 and 5.
We kind of leveled the playing field, right? Because
Well, the migration, right? people got out of the companies and then they went off and did other things where they'd be more appreciated.
That, and people became more tech savvy and learned how to represent themselves online. And if you've got a website and you can present yourself in a professional and ethical manner, you're just as good as the next. You have as much opportunity as the next.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that, well, like I'm just thinking of all the customers that we work with. We do a trip for a local company that's involved in the construction industry. And they did a 4-day, 3-night getaway to the Rockies. Virtually no expense was spared. We built custom packages for each room that had the logo gold foil stamped into the ribbon on the cellophane that wrapped up the packages in the rooms. And it had premium adult beverages. It was unbelievably well maintained. And it was an enormous number. Like these guys spent deep 6 figures. And some people would cancel the day of because they were giving the trips away, which I don't disagree with. So I asked the sales guy who was buying it from us, I says, "You don't seem ridiculously upset by this." He says, "You're losing $2,000. He says, "Bruce," he says, "our company makes 7 figures on this 6-figure buy." He says,
Oh, wow.
this is a sales tool for us. And he says, "The relationships that we built here are pulsing out and magnifying our business at a tremendous rate." So it was quite clear why the budget was so strong. And then that changed some of the way we dealt with things too. Like our processes and some of the other offers that we came up with were more to feed into that.
Right.
So we talk to companies that understand that. If we're speaking to them and we get the double blank, we shake their hand and move on to the next guy. Because, like I said, I mean, you could probably teach them, but I could have closed 3 more other sales in the meantime.
Now, is this something, I'm always thinking about how to help. And with you being part of the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce, there's service providers that do, business building, is this something where you would have a relationship and referral thing? Say, okay, well, I know just company you need to contact because they could use your services, and that might be a potential customer for you down the road.
Sure. I've talked to 𝐸𝐿 about doing a luncheon presentation about this very kind of thing. Our byline is "Imagine Unforgettable." And it's the kind of thing that, well, if your customer is standing at the barbecue at the end of the summer and a guy walks up to him and says, "So, what have you been up to? How was your summer?" First thing out of his mouth, that better be the time that he spent with you and your company, because what you did was the coolest thing he's ever seen.
Right.
We were approached by a group out of Calgary, small oil and gas company, and their top 6 guys were being hunted by their competitors.
Still?
He says, "Bruce, I need something." I said, "I understand. I'll call you back." So I called him back. I said, "Okay, so the story is you're going to come to Edmonton." He said, "Well, we're in Calgary." I said, "I know where you're at." And then didn't even bring up hockey teams. And
That's funny.
so really, I'll narrow up the story a little bit. We brought them up here. There's 5 days in Canada where you can train in an open wheel road course car. And we had bought out a full day of one of those 5 days.
What is it? Open wheel road
Course.
Road? Oh.
Like a Formula cars.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, it's the first step on your way to F1. And believe me, it's not like F1 other than, granularly, but it was a really, really cool opportunity. They're genuine race cars and they genuinely go fast.
And they genuinely get to drive it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. They're taught how to apex the turns, all this kind of stuff. And we put them up at the JW Marriott. They had dinner at a very fancy restaurant. They went out and raced. We took them back to the JW. We got up and we went to another restaurant the next day. And I called my buddy who, at the dinner, and I figured they would have been home hours ago. And he says, well, we're still here. Oh my goodness, what's gone wrong? I was just running out of the house to come down and have a discussion at the restaurant. And it's just personally looking after us like we're kings.
Wow.
Fantastic. So the next day they're all heading home, and my friend calls me from this car. He says, I wanted to let you know the two of them, they all said it was the best day of their lives.
Wow.
I says, really? A lot of them are married. And so anyway, we laughed about that. And, so it's that kind of a thing. And then we sent off an aluminum photograph, because you could print photos on aluminum. It's unbelievably cool. And it had his logo, photo of the guy in his race suit, and a picture of him in the car.
Wow.
On track.
Wow.
And we did all that in-house.
Wow. You did that here, or you have somebody else?
We did all the photography here and the Photoshop, all that kind of stuff.
And printing on the
aluminum. It's just up the street at Technicare. So yeah, it was really cool. So his brand is on the desk of every single one of those executives, and every time the executive turns and looks at that photograph, he's reminded best day ever was at that company.
Yeah. So top of mind.
Absolutely. So we have a marketing background here, like everybody here's marketing brand, and so that's very helpful, because then we understand how do we make this better and bigger to really drive home that sale.
I was just going to ask you, you went to university for marketing, right? Do you think that helped you build your business?
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I highly recommend. Actually, here at Magic Bus, we have a program where if people want to start their educational career, we'll cover their costs.
Wow.
As long as they're enrolled in something that's business related,
right?
We pay for the
They have to
education.
work for you, though, right?
Yep, that's right. Yep, coincidental.
So tell me about your other business.
Yes, thanks. It's Live It Up Lifestyle Adventures. It was the company that we launched to go after the post-secondary groups. Because Magic Bus is very sweet and wholesome, almost Disney-esque. No drinking, no smoking, no. But with Live It Up, it's not Vegas, but it's adult-oriented, so that you can have a drink and you can, you're not expecting to see children on the bus,
right,
and things like this. So that whole thing, we needed another brand. So we launched Live It Up for that. And so Live It Up also went after all the corporate business. So we moved all the corporate out of Magic Bus and Live It Up.
Oh.
And then we also launched a program for individual travel for persons arriving in Canada that are interested in touring in Canada. You can buy a 7-day vacation into the Rockies, and this fabulous itinerary.
And you work with somebody that has a touring company in the Rockies, or
we are a tour company in the Rockies.
Okay, so you have a tour guide and everything?
We have 80 tour directors work for us.
So you have a separate website for the Live It Up?
Yeah, it's youliveit.ca.
I'll put all your contact information.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And there's the hierarchy of destination marketing organizations. We have Explore Edmonton in city. There's Travel Alberta in the province. And there's Destination Canada for the countries. And Destination Canada puts on this gigantic trade show every year. It's called Rendezvous, and last year it was here in Edmonton. And they bring in buyers from all around the planet. People who are interested in bringing persons to Canada. Bringing people to Canada to tour in our country. And so we went as a receptive tour operator. So meaning that a guy in Italy would have a partner here in Canada. We'd produce the tour, give him a wholesale rate. He'd market it in Italy, and then send us the Italian persons.
So that takes the marketing job for that. Yeah.
Right. So we have that. We went to that event. We met a fellow from Mexico, and within 2 months, we're being represented in Mexico and moving people to the Yukon. unbelievable, amazing guy. He's the host of Survivor Mexico.
Really?
Yes, yeah, he's unbelievably wonderful person. And then we just signed a deal with Italy to bring Italian tours here. So
Summer or winter?
yes, both.
Both? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was surprised the Mexican market was so keen to be here in the winter, but they're coming to see the Northern Lights.
Cool.
So things that we, may take for granted, they've never seen.
Where would you bring her to the Northern Lights?
Whitehorse.
Have you been there? Have you been to every place that you provide the tour?
Every place that we skied, yes. We've been as far north as Alaska and as far south as Whitefish, Montana, and then east and west through BC and Alberta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have to test all the slope.
Yes.
It's kind of where I got into this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, as far as some of the other projects we have a project just going together in Philadelphia. Our staff won't actually participate on site there, but we'll have representation and we hire out of the city.
At Philadelphia, what goes on in Philadelphia then?
It's we're taking a group of people to Philadelphia Phillies, and
Is that baseball?
yeah,
Oh.
they're playing the Milwaukee Brewers.
So how long would that be? Like a week or a couple of days?
No, it's we're doing a conference there, and they've asked us to provide a day, an afternoon of activity, and we worked with them out of Calgary, and they said, "Well, can you do Philly?" And I said, "Sure. You
Wow.
Philly, in Chicago, in New York."
Limitless. Great business model. And it's always expanding, right?
Yes.
Opportunities.
Yeah, and like we said when you got here, the day-to-day operation is very formula. We have a process, and everything fits within the process, and it works very smoothly.
Great.
It's the expansion into new areas like this Italian thing and the Mexican things. We've developed processes that are working well now, and we're satisfied that we're able to expand our capacity in that area. And I have staff that have recently joined us that are doing an exceptional job. So yeah, we're.
So how do you show appreciation to your staff? Do you send them on?
As a matter of fact, they're leaving next Friday to go to Jasper.
Nice. They need to see and experience the benefits of being part of that.
Yeah.
So they know what your clients experience as well.
Yeah.
And how it can be improved too, right?
Sure. Well, it's important for them to know who's at the other end of the phone when they call
Yes.
the hotel or when they call the ski area or your restaurant.
Yeah.
Things happen much better when
Yeah.
there's a face-to-face connection.
Relationship.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. No, any one of my staff would lay down for them for sure.
Nice.
They know they're highly regarded, highly respected. Any one of them would be willing to speak to that.
Nice. Do you have any advice or anything, pet peeve that you'd like the viewers to, be aware of? So want to educate them about anything that would help you?
I think people will postpone their enjoyment. If it's, we'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it next week, we'll do it next year, whatever that is. My best advice to anybody is don't do that. Do today. Tomorrow's not promised.
Right.
And if you're planning on doing a big trip, going to see the polar bears in Churchill, seeing the Northern Lights in the White Horse or the Yukon or whatever that looks like, do it right now.
Great.
Because we had so many people over the course of 35 years in the ski industry say, I used to ski, I really wish I had kept it up. And then they say, my knee, my this, my hip, or whatever, I can't anymore. Well, one of my ex-tour directors is 95, and he's going to get over 30 days of skiing this year.
Wow.
So don't tell me you can't.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
You have to choose to do it.
Right.
And, he's also going to get 2,000 K on his road bike this summer. This guy is
Does he live in Jasper?
He lives here in Edmonton. But he's an unbelievable
95 years old.
95. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's got a handshake of a polar bear.
Incredible.
Staunch German fellow and just an amazing guy. And I tell him every time I see him, I say, "Steve, you're my hero. I want to be like you."
When I grow up.
Yeah, if that ever were to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's great advice. Thank you very much. Thank you, folks, and I hope you go to Bruce's website and get some more information. Reach out to him if you've got any questions or you want to bring your staff or send your staff on a well-deserved vacation, a weekend trip to Jasper or anywhere. Please reach out to Bruce. Thanks so much. Bye now.
Thanks, Cindy.
I guess that's it for this week. Please stay tuned for next week's podcast, and we'll bring somebody else that has a great story to tell. This is Cindy Chase signing out. Bye.